In a world that moves at lightning speed, where instant messages, same-day deliveries, and viral success stories dominate our lives, it's easy to forget one simple truth. Good things take time. Be patient. We often look at success, talent, or happiness and think it should happen overnight. But anything worth having, be it a fulfilling career, a strong relationship, or personal growth, demands effort, persistence, and above all, patience. In today's fast-paced world, we're conditioned to crave quick results. We see highlight reels on social media, success stories in the news, and viral sensations seemingly rising overnight. It's easy to believe that success should come quickly, and if it doesn't, we feel like we're falling behind. But real success, the kind that lasts and fulfills you deeply, is rarely, if ever, instant. It's a journey that unfolds slowly, through stages of learning, failure, growth, and resilience. Think about the greatest achievements in history. Whether it's a scientist discovering a life-changing cure, an artist creating a masterpiece, or an entrepreneur building a company from the ground up, none of it happened overnight. These successes were built over years, sometimes decades, of dedication, effort, and consistent action. They involve moments of doubt, countless setbacks, and long periods of quiet work behind the scenes, away from the spotlight. When we treat success like a sprint, we risk burning out. We chase shortcuts, try to skip steps, and become discouraged when results don't show up immediately. But when we view success as a journey, we begin to understand that every step matters. Every late night, every early morning, every lesson learned, and even every failure is part of the path. The journey mindset teaches us to value growth over speed. It allows us to be present in the process, to focus on building strong foundations instead of chasing quick wins. Just like a marathon runner trains for months, pacing themselves for endurance, we too must prepare ourselves for the long haul when working toward our goals. Success is not just a destination you arrive at. It's the road you walk, the person you become, and the wisdom you gain along the way. Each chapter of your journey adds to the richness of your story. Growth is a fundamental part of our personal and professional lives, but it's often misunderstood as something that happens in an instant. In reality, growth is a slow, steady process that requires patience, effort, and most importantly, time. Whether it's the growth of a skill, a relationship, or even personal character, every form of growth takes time to fully develop and reach its full potential. Take, for example, the development of a new skill. Think of learning a musical instrument, acquiring a new language, or mastering a technical subject. In the beginning, it may feel awkward, slow, and frustrating. Progress can seem minimal, and the desire to quit can feel overwhelming. Yet the truth is that every time you practice, every mistake you make, and every small improvement you notice are all part of the growth process. It's not the immediate results that matter. It's the accumulation of consistent effort over time that truly leads to mastery. Similarly, growth in relationships is not something that happens quickly. Building trust, understanding, and emotional intimacy with another person takes years. It requires vulnerability, communication, and shared experiences. You cannot rush the development of a deep and meaningful connection. As with any growing process, time is necessary to nurture the bond and to learn and adapt to each other's needs, wants, and challenges. The same principle applies to personal growth. Changing habits, overcoming negative thought patterns, or improving emotional resilience doesn't happen overnight. It requires time, introspection, and a willingness to confront your flaws. Each time you challenge yourself, each time you make a conscious effort to grow, you're building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. But if you expect immediate results or quick fixes, you'll likely become discouraged. True personal development is about small, consistent steps that add up over time. In fact, growth is often most noticeable when you look back after months or years of persistent effort. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day struggles, thinking that no progress is being made. But when you take a moment to reflect on how far you've come, you begin to realize just how much time has contributed to your growth. The little steps you took day after day created a foundation that would have been impossible to build in a shorter amount of time. Time doesn't just pass passively, it shapes us, molds us, and allows us to evolve into more capable, wise, and understanding individuals. The longer we commit to the process, the more we grow, sometimes in ways we didn't even expect. Failure is something that most people fear, avoid, or try to escape. In a culture that celebrates success and quick results, the idea of failure can feel like a major setback. But what if we viewed failure differently? What if we saw it not as an obstacle to success, but as a necessary part of the process? In truth, failure is not only inevitable, but it's also an essential component of success. Every single person who has achieved something meaningful, whether it's in business, art, science, or personal development, has faced failure along the way. The most successful individuals in history often talk about their failures as pivotal moments in their journey. The key is not whether or not we fail, but how we respond to failure. Failure provides us with valuable lessons that success often cannot. When we succeed too quickly or without effort, we may not learn the deep, critical lessons that come from experiencing setbacks. Failure teaches resilience, adaptability, and problem solving. It encourages us to analyze what went wrong, to try a new approach, and to keep pushing forward. Without failure, we may never push ourselves to innovate or improve, because we'd be too comfortable in our successes. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He is known for inventing the light bulb, but what many people forget is how many failures he encountered in the process. Edison reportedly tried over 1,000 different materials before finding the right filament for his light bulb. When asked about his failures, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." His perspective on failure was one of learning, not defeat. He understood that failure was part of the process, a necessary step toward finding what did work. Failure also helps us build character and mental toughness. It teaches us to cope with disappointment and to develop the patience necessary to continue even when things are tough. If we look at failure as a personal defeat, we may give up too soon or lose confidence in our abilities. But if we view failure as a chance to recalibrate, to grow stronger, and to refine our approach, we begin to see it as an integral part of progress. Moreover, failure allows us to build a deeper understanding of our goals. When things don't go as planned, we often need to reassess our approach, our resources, or even our desires. Sometimes failure pushes us to realign with what we truly want or need, offering a new perspective on our journey. It forces us to be honest with ourselves and get clear on our intentions. This self-reflection makes eventual success even more meaningful because it comes from a place of deeper understanding. In addition, failure often fosters creativity and innovation. When something doesn't work, it creates an opportunity to think outside the box and find new solutions. The pressure to solve a problem or correct a failure can ignite new ideas that would have never emerged had things gone smoothly. Many of the greatest inventions and creative works were born from an initial failure or a series of setbacks. The failure itself became the catalyst for something even greater. So instead of fearing failure or letting it derail us, we should embrace it as part of the process. When we fail, we are not taking a step backward. We are stepping closer to success, armed with new knowledge and experiences. Failure doesn't define us. How we respond to it does. In a world that glorifies instant gratification, it's easy to believe that achieving success quickly is the ultimate goal. We are constantly bombarded with stories of rapid growth, businesses that skyrocket overnight, influencers who gain millions of followers in a short time, and athletes who break records with seemingly little effort. This culture of speed often leads us to equate success with how quickly we achieve our goals. However, the truth is that consistency is far more valuable than speed when it comes to achieving lasting success. Success built on speed is often short-lived. When we focus solely on the speed of our progress, we risk overlooking the fundamentals that create a strong and sustainable foundation. Speed may bring quick results, but it often doesn't provide the depth of understanding, resilience, and stability required for long-term success. For example, When an entrepreneur rushes to scale a business without first establishing solid processes and a reliable team, they might experience short-term growth. However, without consistency in their operations and customer service, their business could quickly fall apart once the initial excitement fades. Consistency, on the other hand, is what ensures that our efforts compound over time. Consistent actions, no matter how small, build momentum that leads to significant, lasting results. Think of someone who works steadily every day toward a goal. Even if the progress seems minimal, in time, those small daily efforts accumulate and lead to substantial improvements. This approach may not get instant attention, but it produces deeper, more sustainable achievements. Take a personal fitness journey, for example. The person who commits to exercising consistently, even if it's just for 20-30 minutes a day, will see far better results over time than someone who tries to do intense workouts all at once, in a bid to see fast progress. The consistent effort, the steady buildup of strength and endurance, and the gradual development of healthier habits will yield more lasting results than a quick, sporadic push. In the world of creative work, whether it's writing, art, music, or design, consistency is also crucial. Great artists and creators didn't become masters overnight. It was their daily commitment to practicing their craft, even in the face of setbacks or frustration, that made them successful. Whether it's writing a few pages every day or sketching consistently, incremental progress allows for improvement. Speed might help you finish something quickly, but consistent effort allows for refinement, evolution, and true mastery of the craft. Consistency also helps us navigate obstacles. There will inevitably be days when motivation is low or when things aren't going according to plan. But those who focus on consistency understand that progress doesn't depend on feeling inspired every day. It depends on showing up regardless of how we feel. Over time, this steady commitment builds resilience and discipline, which are far more valuable than fleeting bursts of speed or motivation. Moreover, consistent effort builds trust and reliability, both in ourselves and in the eyes of others. When you show up every day, whether in work or personal commitments, you create a reputation of dependability. This consistency, more than anything, is what allows people to rely on you. It's easy to impress someone with a quick win, but it's much harder to maintain that impression if you can't keep up the pace. In contrast, someone who consistently delivers, regardless of how quickly they do so, builds lasting credibility and trust, both in their personal and professional relationships. What's important to realize is that success is not just a sprint. It's more like a marathon. And in a marathon, it's not the fastest runners who always win. It's the ones who pace themselves and keep moving forward, step by step, regardless of the obstacles they face. Consistency is what allows us to endure the long journey, to maintain progress even when the going gets tough, and to ultimately reach our destination. The cumulative effect of consistent efforts, compounded over time, is far more powerful than any individual leap or sprint. In fact, true mastery and success are not about the speed with which you achieve something, but the consistent effort you put in over the course of months, years, or even decades. In a world that constantly encourages us to compare ourselves to others, it's easy to fall into the trap of feeling like we should be further along, achieving more, or living a life that looks a certain way by a particular age. Social media, cultural expectations, and societal pressures often highlight milestones, career success, relationships, financial stability, personal achievements, and make us feel like we're behind if we haven't reached them by a certain time. However, trusting the timing of your life is one of the most powerful and liberating actions you can take. Your journey is unique, and the timeline that works for someone else may not be the one that works for you. The idea that there is a right time for everything can be paralyzing and disheartening. But the truth is, life has its own rhythm, and that rhythm is different for each person. What might seem like a delayed start to you could be laying the foundation for something even greater down the road. Consider the fact that many people experience breakthroughs later in life. There are countless examples of successful individuals who didn't find their calling until much later, whether in their career or personal life. People like Vera Wang, who started her career as a figure skater and later became a fashion designer, or J.K. Rowling, who wrote the first Harry Potter book in her 30s, after facing numerous rejections, didn't follow a traditional timeline of success. These individuals didn't rush their lives or force their timing. They trusted that the right opportunities and experiences would come when the time was right for them. Trusting the timing of your life also involves letting go of the need for instant results or outcomes. It's easy to think that life is a race and that we must always be moving forward at a rapid pace, ticking off boxes and achieving goals. But sometimes the best thing we can do is to be patient and embrace the season of life we are in, even when things seem to be moving slowly or not at all. In reality, these slower periods are just as important as the more visible moments of success or activity. They are times for reflection, for learning, and for recalibrating your goals. Growth isn't always linear. Sometimes it requires periods of rest, introspection, or reassessment to prepare for the next phase. Learning to trust the timing of your life also means being comfortable with uncertainty. There's no guarantee that everything will unfold according to your plan, and that's okay. The uncertainty itself is part of the journey. When we constantly try to control every aspect of our lives, we prevent ourselves from being open to new opportunities, experiences, and insights that may come when we least expect them. By trusting the timing of our lives, we allow ourselves to flow with the natural course of events instead of resisting them. This mindset also frees us from the toxic comparison trap. It's easy to look at the success of others and feel inadequate or discouraged because we think we should be in the same place by the same age or stage of life. However, the path of one person is not the path of another. Just because someone else reached their goals sooner doesn't mean that you won't reach yours in your own time. It's crucial to remember that everyone has their own timing, and the only person you need to focus on is yourself. Trust that your life is unfolding exactly as it should, and that your unique experiences, lessons, and timing are leading you to where you need to be. Moreover, trusting the timing of your life allows you to make decisions with more peace and less pressure. When you stop rushing toward a particular destination, you become more present in the process. You make decisions based on what feels right for you, rather than what feels right for others, or what you think society expects of you. This sense of inner peace comes from knowing that you are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Lastly, trusting the timing of your life helps you embrace serendipity and unexpected opportunities. Sometimes, life has a way of leading us down paths we never could have planned. From the stop obsessing over timelines and start embracing the flow of life, we open ourselves up to surprises and new experiences. These unexpected moments can bring immense joy, growth, and fulfillment. The right connections, opportunities, and events often occur when we let go of the illusion of control and trust that everything is unfolding at the right time. In today's world, impatience has become a byproduct of our fast-paced, instant gratification culture. We're accustomed to quick results, immediate feedback, and speed in almost every area of our lives, whether it's food delivery, social media responses, or the quick processing of tasks at work. While the desire for speed is natural, especially when we're eager to see progress or results, impatience can often cloud our judgment and lead to poor decisions that we later regret. When we are impatient, we tend to rush through important decisions without fully considering the long-term consequences. We focus on getting to the end goal quickly, but we overlook the steps required to get there in a sustainable, thoughtful way. Impulsive decisions, whether in our personal lives, careers, or finances, are often made in a moment of frustration, where the desire for immediate change outweighs the desire to be cautious and deliberate. These snap decisions can have ripple effects that ultimately hinder our progress, damage our relationships, or even derail our overall success. Take, for instance, the pressure we often place on ourselves to achieve immediate success in a new job or business. When we rush into decisions about hiring staff, taking out loans, or expanding our operations too quickly, without giving adequate time to evaluate the risks, we can put ourselves in vulnerable positions. An impulsive business move, such as a hasty investment or a poorly researched partnership, might seem like a great opportunity at the moment, but the lack of patience to properly analyze the situation can result in losses or setbacks that could have been avoided with more time for reflection. In relationships, impatience can have a particularly damaging effect. We may feel frustrated that we haven't yet met our ideal partner, or that we're not where we think we should be in a romantic relationship, leading us to make decisions based on this emotional urgency. This can manifest as rushing into a relationship or commitment because we fear being alone or trying to fix something that's not ready to be fixed. Impatient decisions in love often fail because they are not based on the right timing or mutual understanding, but on a desire to fill a void or meet external expectations. Similarly, when it comes to our personal growth, impatience often leads us to seek shortcuts, to jump into self-improvement programs without taking the time to truly understand the foundational principles behind them. People rush into extreme diets, extreme workouts, or quick-fix self-help techniques, hoping for rapid transformation. Yet these quick fixes rarely offer long-term results. Instead, the impatience to become better without truly doing the work can result in burnout, frustration, or regressive behavior. Impatience also distorts our ability to make rational decisions. When we are driven by a sense of urgency, our cognitive functions like critical thinking and risk assessment are often diminished. Our emotional state, feeling stressed, anxious, or eager for change, can interfere with our logical reasoning, leading us to make decisions based more on emotion than thoughtful consideration. This is why, in moments of frustration or anxiety, we're often advised to take a step back and breathe, allowing ourselves the space to make clearer, more rational choices. Moreover, impatience can blind us to the value of learning from the process itself. Growth, success, and improvement are not linear or immediate. They require time, reflection, and practice. Impatience focuses on the end result, but when we rush through the process, we miss out on valuable lessons that can only be learned by taking our time. Whether it's acquiring new skills, building a career, or nurturing a relationship, the true value often lies in the journey, the small, incremental steps we take, and the lessons we learn along the way. By rushing forward, we shortchange ourselves the opportunity to grow in meaningful ways. Another significant risk of impatience is the potential to overextend ourselves. When we feel pressure to accomplish everything quickly, we may stretch ourselves too thin, taking on too many projects or commitments in the hopes of achieving faster results. In doing so, we risk diluting our focus and energy, ultimately leading to burnout or a lack of quality in the work we produce. In fact, the more we try to do at once, the less effective we become. It's better to prioritize a few things and give them the attention they deserve than to scatter our efforts in many directions out of a desire to move quickly. Impatience can also foster a sense of dissatisfaction, making us feel as though we're always falling short of where we want to be. This sense of dissatisfaction can lead to frustration, making it harder to stay motivated or continue pursuing our goals with enthusiasm. When we focus too much on the speed at which we want to achieve something, we forget to appreciate the small wins and incremental progress we make along the way. The constant pressure to move faster can steal our joy in the process, leaving us feeling unfulfilled, even if we're making significant strides. Lastly, impatience can cause us to neglect the most important asset we have, time itself. Rushing through life in an attempt to get to a destination quickly robs us of the experiences, relationships, and growth that only come with time. Time is not just something to be sped through, it's something to be savored. When we learn to be patient and trust the process, we develop a deeper sense of fulfillment, gratitude, and wisdom that cannot be rushed out. Patience is often seen as a passive virtue, a waiting game where we simply endure the passage of time. But in reality, patience is one of the most powerful forces in building resilience. It's through the cultivation of patience that we develop the strength to withstand challenges, overcome obstacles, and continue moving forward despite adversity. Patience doesn't just help us wait, it actively helps us adapt, persevere, and emerge stronger from the hardships we face. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to remain flexible in the face of adversity, and to continue pushing forward even when things are difficult. It's about enduring hardship without losing hope or motivation. But resilience doesn't come naturally to everyone. It's something we must cultivate over time. One of the most effective ways to build resilience is by practicing patience. When we encounter difficult situations, our natural inclination might be to act impulsively or try to resolve things quickly, hoping to rid ourselves of discomfort. However, the ability to pause, take a step back, and allow the situation to unfold teaches us to approach challenges with a clearer, more composed mindset. Patience allows us to recognize that things often don't get better in an instant. They require thoughtful response, time, and sometimes even waiting for the right moment to act. By resisting the urge to rush through problems, we give ourselves the mental space to analyze, understand, and choose our actions wisely. Moreover, patience helps us manage stress in a way that enhances resilience. Life is full of unpredictable events, whether it's a personal setback, a job loss, health issues, or relationship struggles, and these challenges can leave us feeling overwhelmed and helpless. When we practice patience, we reduce the impulse to panic or react emotionally, which can often exacerbate the problem. Instead, patience helps us regulate our emotions, step back from the chaos, and face problems with a sense of calm determination. This emotional regulation is crucial to resilience, because it prevents us from being derailed by momentary feelings of frustration or hopelessness. Patience also teaches us the value of long-term thinking. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't see immediate results, but resilience is built by staying committed to our goals, even when progress seems slow. The journey toward a significant achievement, whether personal, academic, or professional, is rarely linear. There will be times when we feel stuck, unsure, or like we're not making progress. It's during these times that patience becomes a powerful tool for maintaining our focus. Rather than abandoning our goals out of frustration, patience reminds us that success often requires persistence and consistent effort over a long period of time. When we're patient, we also give ourselves the opportunity to grow from challenges. Every setback is an opportunity for learning, but only if we allow ourselves the patience to reflect and absorb the lessons. It's easy to become discouraged after failure, to give up on the path forward, but it's through patience that we can gather strength from each failure and use it as a stepping stone. Resilience is not about avoiding failure, it's about bouncing back after each failure, armed with the knowledge that we can endure, learn, and improve. Patience allows us to take space to learn from our mistakes and move forward with greater wisdom. Furthermore, patience nurtures our ability to embrace uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and we can't always control the outcomes of our efforts. While it's easy to become frustrated when things don't go as planned, patience enables us to accept that some things are beyond our control. This acceptance is a critical part of building resilience, because it frees us from the anxiety of trying to control every situation. Instead of stressing over things we cannot change, we focus on what we can do, our response, our mindset, and our next steps. By accepting that life will always have its uncertainties and challenges, we cultivate a mindset of resilience that allows us to adapt to the unexpected. In addition, patience plays a crucial role in helping us maintain perspective during tough times. When we're in the midst of a challenge, it's easy to lose sight of the big picture. We may become consumed by the immediate difficulties we face, and this tunnel vision can make the situation seem even more overwhelming. Patience helps us step back, take a deep breath, and remind ourselves that difficulties are often temporary. The ability to see beyond the current moment, to trust that things will improve, even if it takes time, is a key component of resilience. It helps us maintain our hope and belief that we are capable of weathering the storm, no matter how long it lasts. Patience also deepens our empathy and understanding, which are vital traits for resilience. When we face our own struggles, we begin to understand that everyone goes through difficulties in their own time and in their own way. This understanding helps us not only be more patient with ourselves, but also more compassionate toward others who are dealing with their own challenges. In turn, this empathy fosters stronger relationships and support systems, which are essential to resilience. Having a network of people who understand and support us, especially when we're facing tough times, bolsters our ability to recover and keep going. The process of building patience is not an easy one. It requires continuous practice, self-awareness, and a willingness to accept that some things are beyond our control. However, with time, patience becomes a natural response to adversity. Instead of being discouraged by the challenges we face, we see them as opportunities for growth, as moments that will eventually pass, and as tests of our ability to endure. Through this practice, we not only build resilience, but also become stronger, wiser, and more capable individuals. In a world where everything moves at a fast pace and we are constantly pressured to make decisions quickly, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by choices, distractions, and uncertainty. When we are caught up in the rush to get things done or to see immediate results, we often make decisions that are driven more by impulse or emotion than careful thought. However, patience brings clarity. It allows us the space to step back, reflect, and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, our goals, and the situations we are facing. Clarity comes when we give ourselves time to process, analyze, and reflect. When we are too quick to act, we may not take the time to fully understand the implications of our decisions. We might miss key details, overlook important considerations, or rush into situations that aren't in our best interest. Patience, on the other hand, provides us with the opportunity to pause and consider all angles before making a decision. When we allow ourselves to sit with uncertainty for a while, we open ourselves to new perspectives and insights that would have been impossible to access in a state of rush or impatience. For example, when faced with a difficult career decision, whether it's a job offer, a potential promotion, or a career change, taking the time to reflect and evaluate the situation with patience can reveal important insights. If we rush into the decision, we might be blinded by excitement or fear of missing an opportunity, leading us to make a choice that feels right in the moment, but is not in alignment with our long-term goals or values. On the other hand, by practicing patience and taking the time to reflect on what truly matters to us, we can make a more informed decision that brings us closer to where we want to be. Patience helps us gain emotional clarity as well. When we experience challenging emotions, whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, or anxiety, our initial reaction is often to act on them impulsively, either by lashing out, withdrawing, or making drastic decisions. However, when we are patient with ourselves and allow our emotions to settle, we gain a clearer understanding of what we are truly feeling and why. This emotional clarity allows us to respond to our feelings in a healthier, more constructive way, rather than reacting impulsively. By practicing emotional patience, we can better navigate our emotions, reduce unnecessary stress, and respond in a way that supports our well-being. Moreover, patience brings clarity by allowing us to evaluate the bigger picture. In times of uncertainty or hardship, it's easy to focus on the immediate problems we face and lose sight of the long-term goals or values that guide us. When we are patient, we give ourselves the chance to zoom out and gain a more holistic view of the situation. This perspective can help us make better decisions because we are considering the full scope of the circumstances, rather than being narrowly focused on short-term solutions. When we trust the timing of our decisions and give ourselves the space to reflect, we are better equipped to make choices that align with our long-term vision. Patience also provides clarity in the process of self-discovery. We often feel pressured to have everything figured out, to know exactly who we are, what we want, and where we are going. But the process of discovering ourselves takes time. It's not something that can be rushed or forced. By being patient with ourselves and allowing our personal journey to unfold at its own pace, we gain deeper insight into our passions, strengths, and areas for growth. This self-awareness is a key ingredient for clarity because it helps us make choices that are in alignment with our authentic selves. In relationships, patience fosters clarity by allowing us to truly understand the needs and desires of others. Whether it's in romantic relationships, friendships, or professional partnerships, rushing to conclusions or acting impulsively can lead to misunderstandings, resentment, and conflict. Patience allows us to listen actively, understand the perspectives of others, and communicate more effectively. In doing so, we gain clarity about the dynamics of the relationship and how we can best support one another. Relationships thrive when we take the time to nurture them with patience, as it allows space for growth, understanding, and mutual respect. Additionally, patience provides clarity in moments of doubt or confusion. Life is filled with uncertainty, and there will be times when we feel lost, unsure of the right path forward, or confused about the next step. In these moments, impatience often leads to poor decisions driven by a desire for immediate relief or certainty. However, when we embrace patience, we give ourselves permission to sit with the uncertainty for a while. This pause allows our thoughts to settle, our intuition to emerge, and our decision-making abilities to sharpen. Patience provides us with the mental clarity we need to move forward with confidence, even in the face of the unknown. Clarity is also achieved through the process of trial and error. When we rush toward our goals without patience, we might make mistakes or miss the opportunity to learn from our experiences. By taking the time to reflect on our failures and successes, we gain clarity about what works, what doesn't, and what adjustments we need to make. It's often through the patient process of trial and error that we discover the most effective ways to approach challenges and achieve our objectives. Finally, patience helps us let go of the need for perfection. Often we seek perfection in our decisions, our actions, or our results, and this can create mental clutter and stress. However, when we practice patience, we allow ourselves the freedom to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow, without being paralyzed by the fear of imperfection. This shift in mindset creates mental clarity because we release the pressure to have everything perfect and instead focus on making steady, thoughtful progress. By letting go of unrealistic expectations, we gain the clarity to move forward with more peace and confidence. In today's fast-paced world, it's all too easy to become consumed with the idea of the future. We're constantly setting goals, working toward the next achievement, and planning for what's to come. While having aspirations and a sense of purpose is important, it's equally important to recognize the value of the present moment. Patience helps us appreciate the present, encouraging us to slow down and savor the here and now, rather than always focusing on what's next or what we're trying to achieve. When we're constantly in a rush, we miss out on the small, beautiful moments that make life rich and fulfilling. Life is not just about reaching a destination, it's about enjoying the journey. Patience allows us to take a step back and fully experience the present, whether that's in the people we're with, the tasks we're engaged in, or the simple act of breathing and being alive. Rather than being preoccupied with what lies ahead or fixating on past mistakes, patience helps us embrace the current moment, allowing us to fully immerse ourselves in whatever is happening right now. Think about the times when you've been so caught up in trying to achieve something, whether it's finishing a project, getting through a tough period, or reaching a personal milestone. It's easy to rush through these times, wishing for them to be over so you can move on to something else. But when you practice patience, you begin to notice and appreciate the beauty in the present. Instead of merely enduring the moment, you can find meaning, joy, and value in the process. For instance, the process of learning something new may feel slow and frustrating, but when we practice patience, we can appreciate the small victories, those aha moments, when we begin to understand, improve, or see progress. These moments of growth are just as important as the final result. Patience also helps us avoid the trap of living in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction. In a world filled with constant comparisons and high expectations, it's easy to always feel like we're falling short, like we should be further along, or have more than we do right now. The desire for more can keep us fixated on the future, where we think we will finally find happiness or fulfillment. But when we're patient, we learn to accept and appreciate what we have in the present. We realize that life is made up of fleeting moments, and if we're always focused on what's next, we'll miss out on the joy and gratitude that comes from simply being present. Patience encourages us to acknowledge that we are enough, right where we are, and that the present moment holds its own rewards. Furthermore, patience helps us cultivate mindfulness, a state of awareness where we are fully engaged with the present, free from judgment or distraction. Mindfulness allows us to experience life as it unfolds, rather than rushing through it or constantly looking for the next thing to achieve. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to appreciate the small details around us, the way the sun feels on our skin, the sound of birds singing in the morning, the laughter of a friend. These details are easy to overlook when we're in a rush, but when we approach them with patience, we develop a deeper appreciation for the richness of life. Additionally, patience encourages us to cultivate gratitude. It's easy to become discontented when we're always striving for more, but patience teaches us to slow down and reflect on what we already have. When we take the time to be present and patient, we begin to notice the things we may have previously taken for granted: the love of family and friends, the opportunities available to us, the beauty in the world around us. This sense of appreciation for the present moment fosters a deep sense of gratitude, which in turn enhances our overall well-being. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can improve mental health, reduce stress, and increase overall life satisfaction. Patience also helps us build stronger, more meaningful relationships. In our fast-paced world, we often rush through conversations, multitasking, or focusing on the next thing we need to do. But when we practice patience, we are better able to be fully present with the people around us. This means actively listening, giving others our full attention, and creating deeper connections. Whether it's a conversation with a partner, a child, or a colleague, patience allows us to truly engage with the other person and appreciate their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. By taking the time to listen and understand, we strengthen our relationships and create a sense of mutual respect and trust. When we are patient with ourselves, we also give ourselves the opportunity to rest and recharge, which is crucial for maintaining a balanced and healthy. In our hustle-driven society, there's often a cry to achieve more and be more and be more. This pressure can lead to burnout and exhaustion, leaving us unable to fully appreciate the present moment. However, when we practice patience, we allow ourselves to slow down and honor our need for rest, self-care, and reflection. By taking breaks and giving ourselves time to relax, we can enjoy life more fully and be more present when we do engage with the world around us. Lastly, patience teaches us to accept that life is not always perfect, and that's okay. In our desire for success or perfection, we often set unrealistic expectations for ourselves or the world around us. We may feel frustrated when things don't go according to plan, or when we face obstacles in our path. But patience teaches us that setbacks are a natural part of life, and rather than feeling defeated by them, we can learn from them and continue moving forward. By being patient with ourselves in the process of life, we stop striving for perfection and begin to appreciate the beauty of imperfection, the unexpected surprises, the lessons learned along the way, and the moments of joy that come from simply being alive. In essence, patience helps us to stop rushing through life, start living in the moment. It allows us to appreciate the experience we are having right now, without always focusing on what's next or what we don't yet have. Through patience, we can learn to savor the present, find beauty in the small things, and live more fully moment by moment.